Jason, and we can look at. What I thought I'd do is just go over can everybody hear me all right instead of a microphone? I'd like to give an overview of some of the energy initiatives that we've got going on at PPD, and ultimately how we can work with you guys to help us gain a lot more energy efficiency in our buildings. Basically, there's three things that we're mainly prioritizing on: is metering and measuring at the university level and at the building level. We're doing energy conservation measures at our chiller plants, our building HVAC, and then lighting as well. And then where you guys can come in is our setback program and what we're calling aggressive scheduling, but I'll get to that and explain what that is. On metering and measuring, basically what we're trying to do at the macro level, university level, we're trying to get the metering information we get from Progress Energy and from GRU and our utility providers, so we can get this data so we can analyze whether we're doing good or not. Doesn't show up very well, but this is the winter setback program that we did, and it just shows some of the savings that we had, about 9%, because we were allowed to set back all the buildings in the winter setback. At the building level, we're trying to do the same thing. We're trying to get energy data at the time interval level so that we can analyze a before and after picture of whether we're doing the right thing or saving energy. Some of the energy conservation measures we're doing is, I'll go over these real quick, but chiller plant efficiencies. All our buildings are fed with chilled water for our cooling. Building initiatives, and I'll go through the list on that, what we can do inside the building, and then the setback program. The chiller plant, chill water optimization, all of our most of the buildings on campus are fed by the chilled water system. We're developing reports that we can identify our efficiencies at the chiller plant and at each chiller, and I just show this report. I know you can't make heads or tails of it, but it's just an idea to show you some of the things we're looking at. So far this year, we've decreased our consumption of chilled water by roughly 5% this year. So some of our strategies to increase it is doing some of the plant work, plant optimization, increase our delta T, which affects our buildings, and I'll get into that in a minute. At the building level, we've got an initiative right now. It's called the McCarty Chill Water Loop Initiative. But what we're doing is we're recommissioning our air handlers on all the buildings that's fed by McCarty Loop. Buildings, and which buildings are those? Well, it's McCarty's A, B, C, and D. We have Keene Flint. We have chemistry lab, chemistry research. So as we're going through this recommissioning process, one of the big savings is to actual schedule the equipment, and when we get into aggressive scheduling. Skip Rockwell, he's been with the controls department for a long time. Now he's with the energy department, but he's going to go out and meet with the individual teams on the green teams at each building. We've already done 2 buildings. I think Jason has been great in coordinating this effort to get with you people and everybody involved with the building schedule, so we can try to squeeze out as much energy as we can out of a schedule. We're also looking at high energy consumption buildings. We're looking at auditorium occupancy sensors for large auditorium areas for turning on and off lights. Air handler zone maps, I can talk about that. T12 lighting, that's a lighting retrofit. I'll just briefly talk about that. And visibility in terms of dashboards, getting this information on a time interval basis and putting it into a visual icon that you guys can see on a daily basis. McCarty Loop, I'll just go over this real quick. We've identified roughly about 30% savings so far on the buildings that we've done. So, and this is just some of the graphs that we're showing as the real time before and after. This is actually the Constance Theater for electrical consumption, so it shows the before and after. We've saved that much in between, so it's kind of hard to see on this one. That's chill water. The high energy users, what we're trying to do is identify those ones that can benefit at the chiller plant level, have a high energy use, and also cost us a lot in utilities, steam, chill water. Stephen Center, O'Connell Center will be working with that. Engineering, nuclear science, Turlington, Yon Hall, Tigard Hall. These are all the buildings that we hope to touch in this next coming year to retro commissioning these air handlers. And as we do so, go ahead and tighten the schedule on occupancy. Automated lighting, I just wanted to touch bases on this. It's using occupancy assistant sensors to turn on and off the lights as well as the HVAC equipment. We have various facilities that are large enough where if we leave these lights on, it creates large energy consumption. Dashboards, real quick, you may or may not have seen these. These are LCD screens that we put up at some of the buildings. Raker has one, Tigert has one. We do have a plan to roll these out at the website first, and then if the departments want these, they can put an LCD screen up in their areas. But the idea is just to basically trend the electrical consumption for their building and just see the actual results. At some point in time, we'll have a baseline of where you should be based on historical data. Building setback program. What we're trying to do is identify all the zones that the air handlers, what rooms are served by which air handler. The idea is so that we can schedule this building but not this building. If these are just offices, we can schedule this building for whatever the classroom or whatever the function of that space is. And in doing so, we can save a tremendous amount of energy in terms of not having to run that air handler unit or the area that serves that. So the way we do this is we meet with the occupants, the Green Team representatives, and Skip, myself, and Jason would meet with you to discuss, how your building better than we do, and what are some of the areas that we can set back or shut down, or if you walk by and you see there's nobody in that area all the time, if we can set a schedule on that so we can save more energy. Overrides, at some point in time, there does have a need where you may have to have cooling in that facility, and it wasn't scheduled or it wasn't planned, and so many of the thermostats will have an override button where you push that button and you get 2 hours of additional cooling. And there's also another Ready Access portal we call it. It's a web-based. We're trying to get our building automation system, some of the information out of the building information system, and have it so that you can get to it through a web-based interface. It's in the works. We're not there yet, but that's what we hope to have in the future. And that's about it. Does anybody have any questions or anything that